So adhesives can be messy to work with. How might a designer manually apply small amounts in a semi-controlled manner to avoid dispensing large amounts unintentionally that create a mess and spread all over the place?
My answer is just be careful.
Yeah, being careful is a good starting point, but we had an application where we had to use adhesive to join two halves of a plastic housing together, and the factory that we had hired to do this production work, they just could not get it. They got glue all over the place. It was super messy, and we ended up having to go with a different solution altogether to join those two things. So the lesson here is never use adhesives because they're terrible. No, that's not quite the case, but they are messy and they're fickle and they're hard to work with, and I don't particularly like them. But if you have to use them, and sometimes you do, there are ways to control how you dispense them. You can actually get CNC machines that will dispense glue in a very, very high precision manner. But it's kind of an expensive setup, and not everyone has that. So a poor man's version, here is a cyanoacrylate. This is more commonly known as super glue. This is a Loctite product here. But you see the dispensing tip right here. It's not... It's a relatively large opening out of which glue can flow, and it can be difficult to regulate that flow. So you can actually buy these little tips here. They have a really small opening, and you can kind of just push that tip on. I'm not going to go through it all right now, but you can push that tip on enough to get it to stay in place, and then you have this really fine opening, and you can see the glue moving through this lumen until it gets to the end. So you have a much better visual cue as to when your glue is going to come out. And then you also have such a smaller volume coming out that can be a lot easier to
Where
control.
can you get that tip?
You can buy these tips on McMaster. You can probably get them on Amazon. I don't know. You might be able to get them at like Ace Hardware, stuff like that. But certainly on McMaster, and I'm pretty sure on Amazon as well.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Let's see, what can be done to the surface of parts to prepare them for adhesion to one another prior to the application of the adhesive?
I would say make sure that they're clean and dry.
Yeah. So what? How would you clean them?
Just depends on the surface, but just whatever comes to mind. Just soap, water, scrub it, wait for it to dry.
And what does the soap and water do to the surface that prepares it for adhesion?
I think it removes particles so that when you put the two parts together, no particles in between.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, the surface of each part sticks together.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, like little debris or oil. Like especially if there are parts that have been machined, there might be some remnants of cutting fluid left over, or if they were molded parts, remnants of mold release, which is a compound used in injection molding tools to ensure parts are released easily. So there could be like a little film of, something, oil or mold release or whatever, or little dirt and debris that gets cleaned off. Soap and water is one way to do it. There's another a fluid that is very commonly used to prepare the surface of parts that are going to be bonded together with an adhesive. Any guess as to what that fluid is called? This is something that people use when for a variety of applications, but have you heard of rubbing alcohol?
oh, okay.
Yeah. We usually refer to it as IPA, or isopropyl alcohol, and it's a very, very common method of cleaning and preparing the surface. It's a solvent, and so it will remove things like oil and grease very well. And that's a super common way to prepare a surface before using an adhesive on it.
In one of the lessons videos, it says that you need an expert when using adhesives. And I thought to myself, we want to be mechanical engineers or mechanical designers. We want to do things with our own hands as we're taking these lessons. why do I need an expert? Why do I need to call someone over to monitor and supervise me using glue? Why can't I just watch some videos on how to use it? So
yeah, so that there's a balance to be struck there. For certain things, you certainly could. For example, if I was just putting together like a quick benchtop prototype, I would feel perfectly comfortable just selecting some kind of super glue and applying that myself. If I was putting together a medical device and we were going to make millions of these and they were going to be used on a patient, I would want to be darn sure that the parts glued together never, ever, ever came apart. And for something like that, I would absolutely want to get an expert involved so that this expert could tell us exactly what adhesive to use and exactly how to apply it and exactly how to let it cure and what materials to use it with, etc., etc., etc.
makes sense. Thank you.
If you found this content helpful, consider enrolling in our signature program at mypipelineacademy.com. Whether you're an individual interested in beginning a new career as a mechanical designer or a company interested in training your new engineering hires, our signature program helps students develop the practical skills they need to be productive mechanical design engineers. Seating is limited. We hope to see you there soon.